Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question. You know, Fred, it's a beautiful time of year. All the blossoms are out, but
yes.
You reminded me, and you're going to remind everybody, it's also time to get those pruners sharpened, because as soon as those blossoms are gone, whack it.
Well, this is true, Mark. And it's one of those things, if you are having trouble finding just enough time to do any gardening and getting some pleasure out of it, it isn't as critical as I might make it sound. However, if you do have time, it is good to cut any pruning that you need to do, that is to perhaps reduce the plant, or by all means thin it out so air can move through it, keep the diseases down from stagnant air in and among the plant, all of that kind of thing. Right after it flowers is an excellent time. And I brushed against a lilac yesterday, which is now just full of seed heads. It is in my way, so it's going to be reduced yet this weekend, I'm sure, because the flower buds won't have set yet for next year's flower. And that's one of the things that has to do with the timing. Many of the spring blooming plants do flower on buds, flower buds that were set the previous year, went through the winter, and then in the spring out they come with a new growth. This is good. But if you wait until fall and cut the plant back, you've done no harm to the plant per se, but you've cheated yourself of the following spring's beauty, because you probably cut the flower buds right off, right along with the rest of the pruning. So to spread out your garden work, to get the best, hopefully, of the flowering that the plant can do, especially on the early blooming things, prune following the bloom is the best way to do it. Now, as we spoke earlier on the spirea flowers on new growth, which has occurred this spring. So you can cut it a little later. You can cut it right in the early part of spring. You'll be just simply causing the plant to start over again. It will set flower bud in the spring and flower. So there's a matter that should you want to, should you be able to do it? And I always go out in the yard with a pair of pruners in my pocket. I find out when I'm cutting off just small twigs and flower heads and things like that, I can literally throw them in the lawn and the mower will take care of disposal. Now, on the bigger branches, of course, I have to get them bundled up and off the property. But, it's just one of those things that if you do a little bit of gardening at a time and then go sit down, have your favorite beverage and enjoy what you've accomplished, that's the whole name of the game.
Absolutely. Sounds like fun to me. And you've been enjoying your little backyard oasis this week.
I have. It is, 40 things in bloom, give or take. Then we throw in the textures, the foliage colors, and that kind of thing. And it has been my great pleasure to sit down before my bones ache too much and enjoy the enclosure. Now, I love my neighbors. They're nice people. The people in the condos directly behind me, I really don't know. It's kind of a different way of living, and their garage and front door and so on is all they use. So I don't see people rarely. So either side then are very nice young couples, children, some excitement coming into the neighborhood again with, and I really have enjoyed that. Now, if a kid yells all night, or has a pool party that is going to go on until 3 a.m, loud and ruckus, that's another story. But I like young people coming on, cute as a bug, and all the things that go along with it. So it's been fun, and yet I don't necessarily want them reading my paper when I sit down.
Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Howard and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
Hi, this is meteorologist Jennifer Naramore. You hear my daily forecast. Now you can check out our podcast about one of nature's most fascinating phenomenon, tornadoes. You'll hear from scientists, storm chasers, and storm survivors. Plus, stories never told before. They're so riveting you can see them in your mind. They can happen anywhere in the world, any day of the year. Don't miss the next episode of Tornado Talk.
Circle270media.com.